Okay, perfect. Now I think we're on the Thin Book of Trust and the other podcast with Charles Feltman or Brene Brown. It says think about organizational management systems that make it challenging to build trust and why it is so rare. What verbal or non-verbal choices in the workplace escalate distrust?
I guess I'll go. Something I think that is major, like not, I guess nonverbal microaggressions. Like I'm gonna use my movie because it's like on my brain for some reason. I don't know why. So in my movie, Hidden Figures, um, I don't know if everyone's seen it or not.
I have.
At least you have the idea. It's about three Black women, 1960s, I think. So racism has ended, but there's still states that honor and recognize segregation. And so microaggressions, you have these Black women who work at your company, but they're still not allowed to use your bathroom. And like she got moved into this all, there's one woman, but all male, um, all white area to help do more math for NASA to launch the rocket. But she goes to get a cup of coffee and everyone is staring at her watching. And then the very next day, there's her own little crummy pot with like blacks on it. Nobody had a conversation with her. They just brought in this nasty little decrepit pot and put blacks on it. Like I can't even imagine how that would feel. And obviously I would distrust everyone in the bed in the room, like you could even have a conversation with me. Like and I know like at that time they were kind of used to it, but it's just stuff that I know. Hey, go. I'm sorry.
You're all good.
No, you're all good.
I thought that was a really good example. Microaggressions definitely are an issue. It's just lack of accurate communication. And I think like I wrote down like the definition of distrust from the book, and it's a choice to not be vulnerable. And I think that's kind of what a lot of us do to just protect ourselves. It's like, oh, I don't know how they're gonna feel if I'm really honest or if I'm really open about this and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of just like a mechanism to kind of just protect yourself. And so I think when it comes to like microaggressions like that, it's like you're both sides is doing it and you're not communicating at all when it would be just a simple solution. Obviously, not necessarily in that context. It's not so
Yeah.
simple that, but in terms of communication in the workplace, it'd be really simple instead of just like, I'm mad at because of this and I'm mad because of this, but they haven't told each other, then it's like, then you can't be mad because there's no communication. So I think it's just really simple of like getting to know them, like you said, just knowing your name, and then further and further on you get to know them more, and then you're like, okay, I can open up about more things. So I think for me it was like really eye-opening because like I personally am like a closed off person at work. I feel like I'm always like keep work life and like home life separate, like you don't really know me in that type of way, but I definitely think that if I opened up more as a person, then they would trust me more in the workplace and be more comfortable with me in the workplace as well. So I think it was definitely eye-opening to, it was like, dang, maybe I'm a little bit closed off in the workplace and I need to just open up a little bit more. So, and I like that it's thin, obviously, thin book of trust, short book. I enjoy
Yes.
short things.
And the fact that the publishing company is the Thin Book Publishing Company.
Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to think of like things that have happened in my workplace that has made me not trust people. And my mind is just going to like lying. A lot of people, I'm the president of like the organization I'm in, so I'm a little bit in charge as much as a student can be in charge. Um, and I feel I've made myself be like a pretty reasonable person, and it's like I very much advocate for the rights of like my coworkers a lot. And so like when people ask for time off, I'm like, yeah, sure, no, you need to take care of yourself. But like it's just one instance somebody was like, I need to take the day, it's the anniversary of when a family member passed and I'm gonna just go straight home. And I was like, yeah, no, please go take your time, take care of yourself. And then we found out that they went to the basketball game, and I was like, okay, um, could have just been like honest.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to come up with an excuse, and like that's really what sticks out to me. And just like,
That's that awful of one.
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. For sure.
yeah,
Terrible.
yeah. I was like, okay, so that's like, no. I got a talking to, but I was just like, and there are other things where somebody asked to miss something and they're like, hey, I'm not feeling well. And then other people were like, yeah, they just didn't want to be there. And I was like, okay. I would have said that's fine. You just had to talk to me. Like you didn't have
Right,
to
right.
lie to me. But yeah, that's like a big one. That's just like what my mind is like. I just hate being lied to. So I'm like, yep, that one.
Yeah, I think lying in the workplace especially is very, very hard to deal with and very hard for you to be able to trust somebody. I also think like when people are like really sneaky in the workplace,
Mhm.
so like they're always going in the back room or they're always like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Like you went 5 minutes ago. You don't
Yeah,
you don't pee
definitely.
that much. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are you just trying to get out of work or like why aren't you talking? I was a manager at a pizza shop here for a while and I dealt with a lot of it.
My kids.
Yeah, so I think just like sneaking around and lying, like you guys said, is just not, it's really hard to trust somebody who does that. And I also think it's hard to like trust somebody when they don't speak to you. Like I had this kid, like I'd be like, "Oh, hey Tristan, good morning. How are you?" And he'd just look at me. And I'm like, "Okay, like we need to use our words. We're all adults here."
Yeah, what happened to hi, hello?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Hi
I
is
was like,
literally one
"Okay."
syllable.
For
Yeah,
real.
I
Yeah,
think
and
that's
but
a good uh addition. Like you can't really trust someone if you don't know them and not having that like day-to-day conversation, but seeing them every day.
Yeah.
yeah,
Weird.
when he was training, I was training him. And I was like, hey, like over here's our can opener. It's like an industrial can opener, so it's not like a normal one. I'm gonna show you how to do it. And he was like, just looked at me. And I was like, okay, cool, good talk. And then so I like went and showed him. And I was like, okay, do you want to try it now? Because sometimes it can be a little difficult. And he goes, no.
Oh
I was
my
like,
goodness.
okay, moving on. Because I
Does
was
he
Yeah.
like,
like talk to customers?
yeah, but the customers are always like, "What? It- Could you say that again?" Because he like doesn't speak up very loud.
Mm.
And but I eventually like 2 years later finally got him to talk. Um, but until then it was just like really hard to work with him because like how do I trust him to do anything? How do I trust him to take care of the conflicts that happen with the customers? Or like how do I trust him to, because he was an assistant manager, so I was like, how do I trust him to manage the other employees? He doesn't talk to them, he just lets them do whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I don't know. I definitely think being able to communicate and open up to somebody can help you trust.
Yeah. I'm
One
trying to think of
sorry.
an organization. No, I'm sorry. An organizational management system that like cultiv that makes it challenging to build trust. And all I can think of like is like back when, not back when, but like in warehouse jobs and like I'm just thinking of like a stereotype of like the 1930s when everybody was like hunched over like canning beans. That's the first thing. And just like they didn't have any rights and they just had to stay there all day and like all that. And I'm like, that's definitely a work environment that I can see trust not getting built in. just because it's like it's important to be like authoritative when you're the boss, but also like you have to remember they're human.
Mhm.
But yeah, what were you gonna say, Ashley?
Oh, I was gonna say, you just made me think of something else. But like back to the podcast, when he was talking about how it doesn't have to be all like you can trust someone in one area, but not like over here. And I kind of resonated with that, and I thought that was really interesting. Like it doesn't have to be all like I can trust this person to show up every day, but I cannot trust them to like actually get their work done. Like I thought that was interesting. But something
Yeah.
you made me think of just now and what you said is like in trusting a boss. I think for me personally, I cannot trust a boss who has not done what I'm doing. Like if they just come in out of nowhere and they've never done the actual job, then I cannot trust you as a boss. Like, how do you know? Like, why are you telling me what to do?
Yeah.
You just got here. Like, I feel like any boss that's like a real boss, a leader, has done it before, is not like scared to like roll up their sleeves and get in there if they have to. Like someone called in sick or you know what I mean? They're still thinking of the greater good of the team, whatever. I think as far as boss, like I could not trust someone who just like walked right in off the street and was like, "I'm your new CEO," and I'd be like,
Oh yeah.
"There you are."
Yeah, right.
And I'm the Queen of England. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then the next question is, what can organizations do to cultivate trust? But I think that goes back to what Ashley was saying. Like, I think they can bring in somebody that can relate. Like, I think somebody there needs to be like, oh, hey, can you do this for me? And somebody's like, well, you've never done it. Be like, oh, no, I have. I'll do it. Just to show you this one time. And then from here on out, if you could do that for me, that would be great.
Or even
Yeah.
promoting within the company, someone who's like
Yeah.
been there doing it over and over again. So
I also think like having like a positive work environment, just like making sure everybody is always positive and like on top of things and like wants to be there, because when somebody doesn't want to be there, nobody wants to be there.
brings everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely like building off of like Ashley said, just leading by example. Cause it's like I live by the policy. It's like I'll never ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. Just because it's like that's not like in a work environment. Like there's some things in life I will ask somebody to do that I won't. Like I'll ask my partner to do the dishes. I hate dishes, but like in a work environment, I'll always lead by example.
But it's not like you can't do
But
them or that you haven't done them. And if like push came to shove, you would do them.
yes, I
So
just don't
it could
want
still
to.
be a good example.
Yes.
For sure.
But also just like team bonding, I feel like is a really big one, just to like get to know your team. But I guess that could also be a little too far one way, just in case like everybody gets too friendly. But I feel like just like a little retreat in like the beginning, just to be like, hey, let's get to know each other. I feel like that really helps build trust.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the boss, for the book, it talked about a bunch of like, elements that make someone trustworthy, like care, sincerity, reliability, stuff like that. And for me, like I feel like being sincere is like super important. Like if I'm if I have a boss and I'm telling them some of my issues and I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna take care of this, and then they don't end up doing that, that's like my biggest thing of, okay, I'm not gonna come to you ever again with any of my issues. Like I'm done. Because I just feel like you're not taking what I'm saying seriously, and you're not, helping what we really need to have done. So if like I'm asking like my boss something and they're like, hey, I'm super busy. Honestly, this is probably going to be a later priority. Beautiful. That's what I want to hear. At least you're being honest and being sincere about what your priorities are. And I feel like that's just a super important element for any boss or any coworker in general. Like if I'm asking my coworker to help me with something and they say that they will, and then they don't end up doing it, that just adds a bunch more stress onto what I'm doing. And then you have to backtrack. So I think being sincere is just super important.
Mhm. And you also touched on reliable too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, if they say they're going to do something and they don't do it, like that reliability is like crucial. Yeah, good stuff.
Okay. So I think we went over everything since we started at the bottom and went to the top.
We jumped around everywhere.
Yeah. Um, we just have who will bring the next icebreaker.
I can do
I
it.
can? Oh, I don't know. I haven't brought one, so I don't know.
You can do it, or you can record.
Either way, I don't have any preference. I'll bring the icebreaker. I'll just say that because I will not decide.
Do you want to record? Because everyone else is recorded.
Oh, sure, whatever.
Or host the meeting.
Yeah,
Record
sure.
something.
Mm-hmm. I can do
Because
that.
the first one we didn't have an icebreaker. That's why.
Mm,
Got you. Okay.
Unless you want, I'll record too. I don't mind.
No, I can record. That works.
okay, perfect. And then when should we have our next meeting? It's due in 10 days on the 30th.
I put us down for again the Monday, 5/27 at noon.
So that won't work for me. I'm gonna be flying back from a conference that day.
Is that Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I won't be home either. So I cannot do Monday either.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a really quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had like 2 weeks in between the other ones.
I also, because I do this thing where I write down all the assignments I have and the due dates. And before, because like in my notes, it said that the next team meeting was supposed to be when the Trust movie is due. So I could have either put it in wrong, but I don't think I did. So I feel like things got changed.
The next due date for it is May 30th, which is why we were doing it the Monday before, but I can double check.
No, it is May 30th. You're right.
Oh, okay, I was like the next team meeting, which is why
Yeah,
we decided Monday, but we could figure out a different time because obviously Monday at noon has not worked for us yet. So,
I can do Thursday morning.
I have class
Ah.
till 10.
Oh, I'm free at the after 10 works.
Okay. Anyone else?
Give me 1 second. I need to check. I work 2 jobs, so at my second job, he just sends me a text message of what dates we have, so I have to like try to remember.
You're all good.
It's the 30th. Is Thursday the 30th?
Yes.
I can do that. That works for me.
Okay, that works for me too.
So we're gonna do right at 10.
If you need a little bit after, like 10:15, so you can have time after your class, whatever.
Okay. I'll do 10:15 then. I'll write it down.
Okay.
And I'll cross off our other one.
Okay. And then it says, what class or professor do you recommend or impact your Woo journey positively? Who's graduating? Congrats.
Are any of us graduating? Congrats.
I'm graduating in June. I'm very, very excited to be done. I'm so burnt out.
I know.
As you were talking about.
Yeah.
That's why I really think you should talk about that because I'm definitely, as a senior, burnt out of
Yeah.
college.
I mean, congratulations.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's exciting.
And I recommend Professor Curry. He's a he teaches communications, but he's also, I think, like just like the head of like the whole communications like department. So he's just really good, and he responds like 2 seconds like to anything you need. Like he's really awesome. So I recommend him for any of you guys.
I had a class with him last term. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love him.
My recommendation is Audrey Laudenbach, but she does the IDS, interpreting and like sign language and stuff. I guess just interpreting, but she's also an advisor. And I actually had a really awful experience with her, but I really grew from it. But she accused me of cheating, like, and was going to kick me out of the program. And I tell you, I have never been so hysterical in my life. And my husband was deployed, and it was like when the birds were in my dryer, it was like the worst week of my life. And it was like, I'm doing a formal investigation, and I was just like beside myself. Like, I felt awful. Like, I had no idea what was going to happen because I knew what I had done, and I just kept. But this experience had forced me to advocate for myself because I am very non-confrontational, and like I will get my food wrong and just eat awful food or like throw it away.
Oh,
Like, I am that person. Like, I will go out of my way. And it sometimes makes like the rest of my family uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, like something's going on, we have to go, or even like it's my issue. But I really had to be like, I didn't do this. Like, you need to figure it out because it wasn't me. And I had to put my foot down because like my entire life was like at risk because I was getting like kicked out of the program, and it it ended up being that it was like a live Google form, and so the other girl literally could see my whole thing. And so once she figured out that she had supplied a live Google form for us to edit, and then she could see my history, thank the Lord Jesus. But yeah, she was a great, like, she literally got on Zoom and like apologized a million times. And I learned a lot, and I could like really tell her, be like, I legitimate, like, I've been crying for days. I haven't eaten. I've been throwing up. Like, that's how sick you made me by this experience. I said my husband's deployed. Like, I literally let her have it, which is so weird for me. But she was really, really awesome, and she definitely helped me out a lot after that too. So it was a good
I'm glad she
experience.
apologized.
Yeah, she did like profusely. Like, she felt awful because she gave us a live doc. Like, it was her doc. I'm like, I literally just took what you gave me, and it was like we had to like watch. Oh, we watched the same stupid thing too that we had to like I'm like, we literally both watched the same thing. Like, of course we had similar, like, you're supposed to witness and just like write down like what you watched. And I'm like, we watched the same, it was a church service. So yeah, we had like,
Mm,
and she's like, no, it's like every word. And then I'm like, how? Like, it was the worst, but it all worked out. So yeah. Yeah. I guess she got in trouble, but I got cleared.
good.
So when she could see all the edit history, and I didn't even know it was a live Google Doc. I just took the paper and filled it out and turned it in. So yeah, it was crazy experience. So
Sounds like that.
yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad you got
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah.
It all worked out.
Yeah, it could be a different experience to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can go next. Mine is I have two that are also comm teachers. Dana Showalter. She's my advisor. I love her so much. If you've ever taken a comm class, I just like the way she teaches because she puts things in her own words when it's like an online class. And it's really nice because it's like actually learning from a teacher. And another comm teacher, Dr. TR Good, she's just been really very kind to me and so helpful. And like she likes to teach like some harder subjects just because like they don't get talked about, and I really like that. But she gives like ample trigger warnings, and if people like can't handle it, she's like, hey, it's okay. But she also like one time I was like I got triggered and I didn't think I would, and like I had to leave class, but like after the fact she was like, "Hey, are you okay?" Like, and I've never had like a teacher reach out to me like that, and I was like, "Oh, wow, they care." Because like I know teach like I'm a teacher's kid, so it's like I know teachers care, but it's like strange to be on like the other side of it, especially like in college.
Mhm.
So,
Um, I think I can piggyback off of that with mine. But mine's a psychology professor. It's Brooke Knott. She is like my favorite person ever. She is just so helpful. And like, I remember my freshman year, I was writing a paper in one of her classes, and I went to her office hours because I was like, I'm struggling so bad. And she literally sat there with me as long as I needed and just like walked me through the paper and like helped me as much as she could without being like, here's information for your paper. But she was just like so helpful. And then she was like, if you need anything else, like send me an email. I can look over it for you. And then now I've been taking her for my quantitative methods and research methods classes and everything. And she's just like, the way she teaches, it's like, okay, we're going to go over everything multiple times and then we're going to do it. And then if you do it wrong, you can turn it back in and say what you did wrong and then still get credit for it, because then you're still learning as to how you did it and why you did it wrong. So I just think that's been really helpful. So I really enjoyed her.
Teacher definitely makes a big difference in how you take in information.
Yeah.
And it sucks this university is not training them the best right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Okay, well, I think that is all for this class, for this meeting.
Very sweet.
Your hands are blurred. It looks so crazy.
I live on campus and the internet's been horrible. I'm literally tethering to my phone right now because of how bad it is in my dorm room. I'm like going crazy. But yeah, so I've been freezing so often. I'm just so glad we were able to get through this.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Yeah, sorry again, guys. I had to push it back. There was no way I was going to be ready at 11 today.
You're good. It worked out.
Yeah.
Mhm. It also
Thank
gives me
you
more
for-
time to prepare, so who am I to complain?
Right.
So, okay, well, it was good seeing everyone.
Good
See
to see
you
ya.
next week, I
Bye.
guess.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.